What I have for you today are cards you've never seen before that have come out after you quit Hearthstone. Okay.
Okay.
So some of these cards, when you come back to play Hearthstone later this month, you will see because they're going to be currently in the standard format.
Extremely
but
cool.
I'm going to show you cards and you're going to tell me whether or not you think they are good or bad.
Yeah, no, I'm glad you're giving everyone this opportunity to see something that has been true in every card review I've ever done, which is that haven't been wrong yet. So in fact, if maybe there's people out there that haven't played Hearthstone and want to know what the meta is and haven't seen any of the cards, this is the right starting point. I'm ready.
I will say, like the Do You Know Hearthstone video we just did.
Yeah.
This is going to ramp up slowly as well for more complexity as we get a little bit further on. Also, the further we get, the cooler the cards will get, because there are some absolute batshit cards they have made recently that you have never seen before. The design philosophy has drastically changed.
Oh, really?
So
what is the biggest design philosophy change?
Ben Brode made a card game for new players. The new team makes a card game for people who understand card games. So the nuances for cards have gotten a lot more in depth, is how I would describe it.
Oh my gosh. I love nuance.
Here is your first card. Oh, I almost said that to the wrong person. All right.
Yeah, you just like fire it off to your accountant. You just like receive a random Hearthstone card and you gotta just roll with it. What do you think of this card? What do you think? Did you get my W2? Disguise Wanderer. 4 mana 3/3, summon a 9/1 Inquisitor. Here's the thing. I don't actually think this is that good. I'm just gonna say it. I don't think it's that good. I think it's pretty bad. There was the was it Piloted Shredder? Was that the one, the 4/3? Yes. That would summon a random 2-cost minion, and that was like the greatest card ever printed. And this feels like someone going, dude, what if we did like a more balanced Piloted Shredder? And instead what they did is made something that is just bad. I'm gonna say this is bad. I'm offended by this card. It has a 9 in the stat line. That's offensive to my branding. I think this is a bad card.
Yes, this card was horrific. It was very bad. Never saw any play. You're entirely right.
Yeah, it dies to Doomblade. Does that joke work here? Does that joke work here?
Sorry. What is Doomblade? I don't even know what that is.
It's a joke that if you know what it means, it's objectively hilarious. Please move on to the next card.
I'm sure I'll get some comments like, dude, that was funny. Easy for you. Let's move on to the next one. Also, I want to make this very clear because I didn't even mention this. I don't even know if you know this, but Demon Hunter and Death Knight are both in the game now. I have no idea if you knew that. Back in the day, there were 9 classes, right? You know all the 9 classes.
Great for branding. Yeah, of course.
In Ashes of Outlands, which is the card I just showed you, the Disguised Wanderer, they introduced Demon Hunter for the very first time.
Oh, finally. So now they've hit a weird number. There's 11 classes?
So there was 10, and then was it last year? No, the year before. God, I'm getting old. The year before last year, Death Knight was released into the game. So now there's 11, and the menu looks really strange.
It's like a car with 5 or 6 steering wheels. Like it just looks weird.
It looks strange. Now, I'm a huge fan of both of the. Actually, I fucking hate Demon Hunter, but Death Knight's great. I love that. Death Knight's a good class to have.
Bad Luck Albatross. Oh, what a cool name. Okay, hold on. Shuffle 2 1/1 Albatross into your opponent's deck. How many people do you think read this and went, is that the plural of albatross? Is it not? It's not albatrosses, it's just albatross?
Dude, I have personally never thought of that question, but now you got me. Now you got me thinking.
No, like what are other words? Like what's the plural of floss? Not that any of us use it, but like what's the plural of floss? 3 mana 4/3 that shuffles 2 1/1 Albatross into your deck, and it's a beast, and there's a 1/1 beast. This is it's a 3 mana 4/3, not a 4 mana 4/3. Oh, so this is weird, right? It's not a 4 mana 4/3 with a death rattle effect. I mean, honestly, I would look at this and I'd be pretty underwhelmed because I would view the 1/1s going into the deck as diluting your good draws.
I'm gonna interject here real fast. This goes into your opponent's deck when they die, not yours.
I was so obsessed with trying to determine whether or not albatross is pluralized or not, I stopped reading. I got to that word and my brain was like, the rest of this sentence doesn't matter. Shuffle 2 1/1 Albatross in your opponent's deck. Yo, this card is good, actually. I changed my mind because I was imagining the Piloted Shredder stat line. It's 1 mana sooner, but you screw your draw. Ugh. Yeah, Bad Luck Albatross, I'd probably give like a 3.5 or 4 out of 5.
Yeah, so this card was good. The reason it was really good though was because Highlighter was introduced during this expansion and the expansion beforehand. So if this died, you shut off their Highlighter because you added a duplicate to their deck because you shuffled 2 Albatrosses.
Nice. 2 for 2. Don't ask me to remember anything, but again, judging things I've not seen, one of the best.
You're killing it. Okay. Now we go to a spicier card.
Oh no, it's Waxadread! Elemental Dragon 7/5, Death Rattle, shuffle a candle into your deck that resummons Waxadread when drawn. And this is in a rogue.
This is in rogue, yeah.
Shuffle a candle in your deck that resummons Waxadread when drawn. Okay, so my opinion on this is going to be, it's maybe not awful, but I would claim it's not good, because I have tried to have rogue decks historically that would try to put in an interesting card here or there, and it's just always worse because there's so much interesting combo, multi-draw stuff that exists in rogue, that this is just stats all by itself. Why would I want to focus on that when I could have another card that's redrawing and focusing more on a clean plan? So I would say it's pretty bad.
You are entirely correct. Yeah, this card was cool. I thought it was going to be a lot better just because it was an infinite 7/5, but yeah, it ended up being...
Let me take you on a little bit of a tangent. The number of times that I saw a legendary card and was like, oh my god, I'll make the coolest deck ever. I'll get so many views and people think that I'm still good. And I would always be disappointed. So whenever I look at one of these cards, my brain is like, danger, day 9, danger. Hold on. It's probably pretty bad.
Here we go. This is where we start really ramping up the power.
Oh my god, a 3-mana 1/3 Voracious Reader. At the end of your turn, draw until you have 3 cards. Whoa, that seems insanely good. I'm just gonna say it's insanely good because a lot of the times when in a lot of card games, when the power level rises, it is not because there is more stuff happening with your big haymaker cards having bigger effect. It's because there's more efficient, cheap cards allowing you to do, 2, or in Hearthstone's case, 2 or 3 cards per turn. But in Magic the Gathering, being able to do 2 things per turn has really high value. And so in a lot of the older formats in Magic, or even sometimes in Wild, you'd wind up with decks that were being super, super, super focused on dumping super high value stuff from the hand early, and suddenly the ability to draw until you have 3 cards total in a card game that doesn't have interaction on opponent's turn. I mean, this seems insanely good.
That was a really good analysis. This card was nuts. Very, very strong card. It was fit into a bunch of different aggro decks, and you would just empty your hand and then you play this and then you'd refill every single turn.
Oh, thank God. Okay.
I'm going to introduce you to a brand new thing they did in Skullman's Academy, which is the expansion after Demon Hunter. They did dual class cards.
You said that really fast, like someone who's said those words a lot. Like what's Skullman's?
Skullman's Academy was the expansion after. Yeah, it's I think it's an actual place in World of Warcraft. I never played World of Warcraft. Skullman's, yeah.
Okay.
For the first time ever, they did dual class cards, which means, you get Mage and Rogue, you get Hunter Druid. I'm going to show you a Mage and Rogue card.
Jandice Bear. She's a 5-mana battle cry. Summon 2 random 5-cost minions. Secretly pick one that dies when it takes damage. Huh. What do we think of Jandice Bear? Now, do you want me to just state as an overall, what do I think of it? Or do you want me to evaluate it with respect to Mage and Rogue?
You can say overall. Overall's fine.
I mean, this is a lot of stats. 2 random 5-cost minions. And in my eyes, Hearthstone had a lot of good sweepers. So the fact that one of them secretly died when it took any damage, I think would be irrelevant with respect to a lot of sweepers. Maybe it would be all right if, you had a consecration or something cheaper. So this feels like it would be overall kind of a pain in the ass, where it's like play a 5-cost minion and now get 2 5-cost minions and also a 2/1. So I think that I would probably rate this quite highly, but I just don't know what Mage would be like. Rogue also seems, that's a deck that really wants to be very combo-y, but that's so much stats for 5. I'm going to say it's a quite good card.
So in Mage, I don't think this card really saw play just because of the decks that were there, but in Rogue, this card was insane.
Nice.
You also remember Shadow Step, which is still in the game up until this point.
Love this card. So good.
So you can play Jandice, Shadow Step her, you get 2 5-drops, and then you get to replay your next turn as a 3-cost minion to get 2 5-costs more. Anyways, here's your next card.
So far, so good. Rattle Gore. Rattle Gore. Death Rattle, resummon this with -1/-1. And this is in Warrior. Huh. Oh my God. I want to get really excited about this card. Okay, so first of all, it's undead. I mean, there's no way I'll know any of the synergies, so I'm just going to pretend that it doesn't have the undead synergy. Resummon this with -1/-1. What do I think about this?
I'm going to give you just a little bit of information here.
No, don't you dare give me any information.
I'm just clarifying one thing.
Okay,
when it says resummon this with -1/-1, it is a static -1/-1. So meaning if you buff this to a 12/12, it comes back as an 8/8. I just wanted to clarify that in case you were curious.
So what's interesting about this is that there were cards like, Tyrion Ford Ring that were often good, even though they could be regularly silenced, or there were various removals because it had that sort of death rattle effect. In Warrior, I don't know what Control Warrior looks like now, but a lot of those Control Warrior decks just had like a scary threat at the end. You didn't need a ton. It just needed to be sticky. I remember like running Ysera and stuff in those lists, just trying to get extra value, but even Ysera, you just blast her. So I think I'm going to go ahead and say that this is excellent. I'm going to say this is excellent in a Control Warrior list.
So I wouldn't call it excellent, but I would call it good, because the definition you had of a card like a late game threat is basically what this was, right? You'd played Rattle Gore as when you finally went around the corner from like an aggro deck, and then this would probably single-handedly win you the game, unless you're going against Priest, and then you probably just lost the game because they would just steal this from you.
Mind control.
But,
yeah.
That's
but
it's
in my eyes, it would be like slightly better than like a Ysera in the 9-mana slot.
Oh,
so.
Ysera hasn't seen play in years. Oh my god.
Are you kidding? That's so funny.
She's so bad. Fun fact for you, with the core set, what they did was they introduced the dragons from the original classic game, but they updated them. Ysera's updated text was give you all of the dream cards in your hand immediately. Like you didn't get it one out at the end of your turn, you got all of them. Wasn't played.
Sure, totally fine. Okay. 2 mana, 2/3, Far Watch Post, can't attack. After your opponent draws a card, it costs 1 more. Oh no, this is a card that I would absolutely jam in decks just to be annoying. I would run this in Cold Light Oracle and just be like, oh my god, we're doing it. We're gonna mill. Oh, there's some really stupid shenanigans with this that can show up, huh? So I feel like the only way in which this would be good is it's not a blocker. I don't really want to like play some card to give it taunt. What is it? Argus Protector? Is that the +1/+1 taunter?
Yes.
And then there's the 2/3 that gives taunt. What's her name? Sun Fury Protector or something?
Yeah.
There it is.
Insane.
Where was that memory when you were doing the memory game? Where was it? It wasn't with us at that time.
We should have done this first.
Hearthstone, just having a card go out that just does not interact with the board because it can't attack. I mean, that feels really bad. There's also some weirdness with like cards such as Cold Light Oracle that make you and me draw, where I can imagine just really punishing someone when you're trying to pop off with some combo. So I'm going to say overall, I think this card is middling, but I can imagine a weird combo deck where maybe it's insane because of cards I don't know. That's my answer.
Okay, so one thing I think you're kind of forgetting is this is kind of like a must kill card, because if you play this on turn 2 and your opponent leaves this up, the amount of mana they're gonna get reduced by or increased by is actually kind of significant. And yeah, like it doesn't attack, it just kind of sits on the board, but you can't let this survive because you're just losing.
Because that's the thing. Is like let's imagine I'm thinking about like a 2015 Zoolock or something like this, where Far Watch Post, if the Zoolock played that, I mean, in my eyes, I'd be like, well, they're losing a lot of momentum. They're giving up a lot of control. But I guess it's just hard for me to. Well, I guess you do only start this game with 3 cards or 4 if you go second. So I guess if they get it down on turn 2, then like. Assume that you've played one of your starting cards. Okay, I mean, I'd say I kind of get it, but I would need to get smacked by it to really
you
appreciate
need
it
to
and
feel
respect
it.
it. Yeah,
I will say, so this card, when it came out, was a 2/4 stat line, and it was absolutely disgusting because you could not, if you couldn't interact with it exactly on turn 2, you just lost the game on the spot. Okay, what about this one?
Cornelius R. At the start and end of each player's turn, draw a card. What?
So you play this card, you end your turn, you draw a card.
Then it's your turn.
You go to your opponent's turn, you draw a card. They end their turn if this lives, you draw a card. And then at the start of your turn, you would draw a card. And you keep going for as long as this is on board.
Oh my god, this is what it sounds like when people are investing in crypto schemes. It sounds like it's gonna go great until all of a sudden you're burning your cards and you're trying to play stuff. No, let me tell you something. In an alternate reality, I played this card a lot and lost almost every game because I overdrew, but I stuck with it for too long. For too long, I stuck with Cornelius R, and it wound up just ruining my viewership. People are like, oh, day 9, he's that bad gamer that runs Cornelius R. I think this card the stat line is very weak. The effect, obviously you play it and it draws 2 cards right away. Can you just ignore it? I don't know, because that's what's weird, is that like I play this, there's not interaction. So I end my turn, I redraw to replace it, then it's your turn and I draw again. And then so you have the option to kill it, but its stats aren't that threatening. And if I can trade Cornelius R, I'm happy. This is a lot of cards that are getting drawn, but for some weird reason, I feel like this card's bad. There's something intuitively that feels bad about it. I think it's the self-confidence consciousness of imagining alternate reality, Sean, trying to make it work.
So you're saying this card's bad?
I mean, as like literally insane as it is, a card that can draw like 6 cards immediately. Am I crazy? I mean, like, I don't know why I think this card is... Fuck it, I'm going to say it's bad. Fuck it, this card sucks.
You know what's crazy? You're right. This card...
Wow. Okay, nice.
Okay,
yeah.
I got to explain the context of this card, okay?
Yeah.
If you showed me this card in Classic, I would have told you you're stupid for printing a card like this, because in Classic Hearthstone, I think every like mid-range control deck would have played this card. Like,
I am that person from Classic. That person who's stupid you're describing, it's me.
But over the years, there's been a lot more efficient card drop, but most importantly, 6 mana to play a 4/5 is atrocious. So the only real use case for this card, this is what I thought it was going to be played in, is you play an aggro deck. This is the highest cost card in your deck, and then they have to respond to this. But it never works out like that, and it always just feels bad. And then you bring up the other point of they just don't kill this, and then next thing you know, you're just losing every card in your deck. Because what are you going to do? You can't kill it yourself. You're drawing 4 cards a turn, plus the additional one at the start of your turn. Like, you're gone.
It's me. I do that. I lose that way.
So I gotta introduce you to a new card type that they've added. This is called a location, kind of like in an enchantment in Magic the Gathering. This is something you put on the board. It has a durability that you could use every other turn.
Okay, so if I'm just reading this card correctly, this is a rogue card that is a 3 mana card, and then it comes out and it has
2 durability. So you could use it the turn it's played, and then you wait one turn and then the turn out. Oh, go for it.
When you say use it the turn it's played, like what does that mean? Do you like click on it and it just does?
Yeah, it goes on the board. You don't have to use it the turn it's played, but then you can click on it to activate its effect.
Okay. Yeah, because looking at this, I would say this is excellent. This is just an excellent card because it's going to allow you to be doing combo-y things, and it's combo-y, it's not going to take up mana, and it's just going to create a threat that can be quite large, assuming Rogue still loves 0 mana spells. Yeah, so I would say that this looks quite excellent to me.
Yeah, this card was nuts. Fun fact for you, this card used to be 2 mana, and it used to give the ghost stealth.
Wow.
Which,
yo, dude, load me into this. I'm ready.
That shit was hella stupid. You remember getting Edwin Van Cleef on turn 3? What if it had stealth?
Yeah. With the audio was always a little too quiet for how terrible things were. It was just that, that heavy sigh that you would also make when you saw it. All right, what's a 22/22 or whatever, Thear, the Mad Duke. He is a 6 mana 4/4. Discover a card in each player's hand and swap them. Thear is a funny name. Oh my God, man. If I ever have a kid, I'm going to name that kid Theatar. So its name is Theatar Plot. What a poor kiddo. Oh my God, Theatar. So you're getting information and you're seeing what's up. Your opponent doesn't know what you discovered from your own stuff. And you get to pick the best player, the best card. We don't need to pick the best player. I'm the best player. You get to pick the best card from theirs and give them the worst one from yours. So I don't know if this is true in the existing set, but I would value knowledge of another player's hand extremely highly. So I would say this is solid.
Theatar is a card that you would mainly use to steal like a combo piece, a guarantee piece. You remember Dirty Rat? You remember how you used to play that card just to try to pull their combo piece out to kill him? Do you remember what Dirty Rat is?
I was just doing that with Cold Light Oracles, man. I was not trying to do it any strategically way at all. Yeah.
Dirty Rat was battle cry. You pull a random minion out of your opponent's hand. So you would try to interrupt your combo. Theatar was the exact same concept. At 6 mana, I would say that this card is playable, but it's not super great just because it's really slow. This card was at 5 mana, okay? 5 mana, very good card. It was released at 4 mana.
So it's like the reasoning that I shared was inaccurate, and it's probably a little worse than solid.
I would say at 6 mana, it is tough to include into your deck. At 5 mana, I would have given it to you for sure. At 4 mana, I would have called it insanely broken.
All right, nice. Prince Renethal. Renethal really does sound like a pharmaceutical product. Doesn't it just sound like...
Take your Renethal?
Yeah, if your left knee is hurting when you're having long Hearthstone sessions, take Renethal.
Take Renethal.
All right, a 3 mana 3/4. Your deck size is 40. Your starting health is 35. Huh.
I'm going to explain how this works to you real fast. When you put Prince Renethal into your deck in the collection manager, you can now put 40 cards into your deck. Okay, he's one of them, so it's 39 other cards. When you start the game, there is an animation like, you remember what Baku used to be, where she would sum up and then she would make your hero power like upgraded? Do you remember her?
Let's say yes.
Okay. So at the start of the game, after the mulligan happens, you will see the animation that makes your health go to 35. So both players are fully aware that you are running Renathal.
Oh, I remember this. Yeah. Basically, the question mark is, so okay, 3 mana 3/4 in my era, when I played the video game, this was just a fine stat line for a card whose effect that you're really trying to evaluate. So 3 mana 3/4, you basically pretend it's just reasonable stat-wise. And then, so starting deck size is 40, starting health is 35. Okay, so how good is that effect? Well, 35 health, getting 5 extra health feels really great for 0 cards spent, but deck size being 40, they don't have mill anymore, so that's absolutely devastating to me. And there were a number of decks that I ran that were just trying to exhaust the opponent, like try to draw all 30 cards. Like there was the hero power replacement mage thing that would like allow you to shoot something for 1, and if it killed it, it would summon a 3/6 water elemental.
Yeah, the Death Knight,
Oh yeah, love that card. Like that sort of exhaustion play obviously becomes stronger if you have a deck size of 40, but consistency, I mean, getting a third more cards in your deck, 5 health is a lot, but like dilution of 10 feels like a lot as well. But there's a lot of good cards in Hearthstone, so I'm gonna say this card is quite solid for control players. I'm just gonna say it's a solid ass card. Ta-da!
So you're right. This is actually a pretty good card. The thing about Prince Renathal that makes it much better than what it probably would have been back in the day is that card draws at not longer a premium for a lot of classes. So it gets pretty consistent. When this card was released, it was actually released at 40 health instead of 35. And it was one of the greatest cards they've ever given to any of the players. They gave it for free before an expansion.
10 health?
10 health,
for spending your class starts with 10 armor. Like, Warriors have to spend 5 turns hitting that button to get that.
It's completely different game changer. But they figured that at 40 life, games were going on a little bit too long. Now, I will say you were talking about the attrition strategy, which is basically like forcing your opponent to run out of cards, and that's how you win the game.
Oh, yeah.
That doesn't exist in Hearthstone right now. Like you never do that anymore because normally the game will be over before it even begins or before you even get this ready.
That's probably really good that the designers have done that. That seems like a positive change, but I am devastated.
It has made Hearthstone a much more consistently good experience, is what I'll describe it as for a lot of players.
That makes sense because like you're actually trying to solve problems under pressure as opposed to just, because I mean there was a long time when I was playing Hearthstone where it was like you play a creature, I kill it. I play a creature, you kill it. You play a creature, I kill it. And then one of us runs out of cards.
Yep.
And, a lot of the decisions were, do I actually want to spend this sweeper on 2 dudes, or do I want to be a little greedier and go for 3, since we're clearly going to go to fatigue? So that sounds awesome. That sounds terrific.
If you like that philosophy, you're going to love Hearthstone when you come back. But you're right. Prince Renathal at 35 life was a good card. I wouldn't call it the best card in the world, but it changed the game for the better is what I would describe it as.
Yes.
Excellent. You are killing it, by the way.
In fact, it's all downhill for me after this. I'm really feeling a high with these evaluations. A 30 mana 15/15. That's called Fanatum. Oh, good old Fanatum. Lord of the Opera. Taunt, lifesteal. This card's cost is equal to the amount of cards in your deck. Fanatum, Lord of the Opera. You just explained to me that you die before you go to fatigue, and literally based upon that alone, I would say that this is not that great of a card, but let me just think about that a little bit more. Well, because if you got to... I'm just going to say it sucks. I'm going to say this is a totally trash card. Fanatum, Lord of the Garbage Bin is really where Fanatum's got him.
In hindsight, I probably should have said that because you're absolutely right. This card is bad, unfortunately. I was going to try to see if the Warlock class would maybe trick you a little bit because you remember Warlock, it's hero power's life tap.
Didn't even process the color
I was
purple.
Gonna say, I don't even think you realized it was Warlock.
I read Fanatum and was like, this card sucks. And then I looked at the stats and I tried to come up with a justification second. It's the same way I like to use my Twitter account. So, okay. Oh, I just saw the words Yogg Saron and I was like, no. A 7 mana location with 3 durability, Prison of Yogg Saron. Choose a character. Cast 4 random spells targeting it if possible. Really? Are we sure that Ben Bro doesn't still work at this company? Are we 100% positive? Because I feel like he's still there. I feel like he maybe drove through and like slipped this in an envelope to the design team. And they're like, yes, sir. So when Yogg Saron was shown, it was a 10 mana 7/5 that just cast random stuff for each spell that was cast this game. And I think someone did some math at some point that said, generally speaking, if you're casting a spell, no matter what the targets are, on average, it will be harmful to the enemy and helpful to yourself. On average. And so here you choose a character. So I could choose your face and then cast 4 random spells, targeting it if possible. What do I actually think about this? Because like my intuition first saw Prison of Yogg-Saron and is like, all right, this card's totally broken. I bet it's banned. And then choose a character, cast 4 random spells. So this means I'm going to 3 times get random stuff going on. Is 4 spells a lot? I'm just going to say that this card is bad. I'm just going to say it's bad. It's neutral. If it's either the most broken card in the game or it's bad, and I'm going to go with it's bad.
Okay, so when this card was first released, it wasn't very good. But this card now is probably one of the best cards of the game. It really depends on the density of like good spells to cast. But honestly, this is like a get out of jail free card 3 times most of the time, right? The same philosophy of the Yogg, where it's like if you're behind, you might as well just try to win with this, and it works like that sometimes. Other times, man, you're ripping your opponent's face. He had a pyroblast, and it's the best lethal you'll ever have in your life. It is.
Yeah, I mean,
it is. Sometimes it backfires. Don't get me wrong. Sometimes you will lose the game because of it. But
I really feel like I said it's bad because I was praying that when I sit down to play on the 26th, that this is not something I'm going to see. So please, everyone, don't run this card in your deck. It's fucking terrible. Please.
I will say, when you come back, rotation will happen. So there will be 4 expansions in the game when you come back. Okay. So either the card pool for this is very bad or it's incredible. So we're not going to know.
It's a
Good
high
luck when you come back. You will see it 100%. People love this
game. Let's do it.
Okay, this is your very last card.
All right.
And this card was released in the most recent expansion, and you're going to see a familiar face.
Okay.
Seems like a lot, but it's just different hero powers.
What? Oh, Reno. Oh, Reno got horny. Look at this outfit. Look at him. Look at that look. Reno knows what you're thinking, and you know what Reno's thinking when that's the expression. Reno Lone Ranger. If your deck has no duplicates, empty the enemy board and limit it to 1 space for a turn, then it's high noon. Isn't that McCree? Okay, wait. So is this a neutral card?
Yes, it is a neutral hero. It is the first neutral hero they've ever added to the game. Any class can play it, and let me just kind of explain what that actually means. When you play Reno, you wipe your opponent's board. It also removes locations, dormant minions, which you don't know, but you'll see when you come back to Hearthstone. Everything that your opponent has. It then shows it on the board, 1 glowing spot that your opponent can now only play 1 minion for their next turn.
Nice.
And that's what the card does. And then the rest of it is the hero power that you get.
Jeez, if it has no duplicates, empty the enemy board and limit it to 1 space for a turn. It is high noon. Goodness, that seems okay. So let me just give my impressions of this. This seems good because there's cards like Jiraxis or like what's Death Knight Jaina? What's she called?
Frostlich.
Oh, I had it right the first time. Look at me. Some of the issues with those is that they are so expensive that, like, if you play Jiraxis, you often just can't do anything the turn that Jiraxis is played, outside of, like, dealing 3 damage. And it's very easy to just die. Or it's very easy to just have it languish in your hand and not have a chance to play it. So the fact that Reno is 8, which means I can play it on 10 and immediately have a hero power, that's nice as an opportunity to just get some value right away. But also I can play this on 8 and it empties the board. It's not a clear, it's not like a sweeper, it's actually emptying it. So if you're removing locations and minions and dormant things, that seems really nice. That just seems really nice. And then the limit the board to 1 space, it really feels like someone that loves new hero powers did everything they could to make this damn card playable, because you play it and everything's good and they can only have 1 thing and you can shoot it with your gun. I just browsed through all of these things, like 2 damage, discovering cards, 2 damage, and gaining an armor. It's dealing 2 damage per turn. I think that Shadow Form was like my favorite card in the Day 9 era of Hearthstone. I love Shadow Form. I love it. I adore it. I'm in love with it. I want to make out with it. I want to give Shadow Form the same look that Reno Lone Ranger is giving all of us right now. I love that card. So I don't know how good Highlander is. I really don't, but I'm going to work into the assumption that it's good. So I'm going to say this card is excellent. I'm going to say it's an excellent, amazing 10 out of 10 super good card.
So Highlander is, I would say, not great. That's the high, because you remember back in the day, right? When Reno Jackson was first introduced. Oh my God, that was crazy, right?
Yeah.
Restoring your health, like it would win you the game. It is now 2024. Reno Jackson would not. He was in the core set, I think, last year and didn't see any play. Reno Lone Ranger might be the strongest neutral card ever printed. Might be. It is definitely up there. It is the reason why it's so good is because you basically even if you don't care for the hero powers, which I showed you the hero powers just so it wouldn't be very obvious how strong the card actually is.
Yeah.
But limiting your opponent to one board space is a really big deal because you completely shut down their tempo and you remove their whole board. So you can just win the game if Reno. Reno Lone Ranger is played more in duplicate decks than Highlander decks because of the fact you could draw through your deck so fast and play this and win the game.
Oh, I literally didn't even think about that. Nice. Wow.
So
wow. Card draw must happen a
it is
shitload now. Whoa.
Yeah. Oh my God. It is. There are some dude, you should have been there for Demon Hunter. Oh my God. Okay. Anyways, that's a dark touch.
You should have been there.
You should have. It was. I want to just. I'm not. That was the whole cards. First and foremost, you did fantastic. You actually did really, really good.
Oh my God. No, this is literally the high point of my life because so often I'm good at being a goof when things go wrong, and that's where there's so much attention, and it's just so rare in one of these situations that things just like go well. People are gonna look at that and go, oh "My God, this guy like really knows his stuff," and then they're gonna watch me stream, and I'm just gonna be it's just gonna be a chain of shitting the bed. It's gonna be so bad, but I promise it'll be quite hilarious. Oh my God, it's gonna be. Oh, the expectations are way higher than they really need to be right now.
When you come back, I'm expecting Legend Day 1. We'll see. I want to show you this one card because you mentioned Shadow Form, and I unfortunately it is literally it's gonna be rotated as you come back, but I just wanted to show it to you.
Dark Bishop Benedictus. Start of the game. If the spells in your deck are all Shadow enter Shadow.
You're gonna miss that card, unfortunately, unless you want to go play it in Wild.
Wait, is Shadow Form still like a core card that I can have in
Priest? No, it's real. It was they buffed it to 2 mana at some point, and then it never got played. But then they released this card. This card was actually played. Really cool card,
dude. Yeah, dude. Shadow Form is
really cool card.
It's banging. It's a banging card.
But yeah, dude. I hope this was fun.
Oh, this is a blast.
I am gonna because you did so well in this. Here's your code for.
Oh my God. Oh,
for doing so well.
Oh, value. Oh my gosh.
Okay, so just so the people know, when are you coming back to Hearthstone? Just so I can.
March 26th.
Okay, March 26th.
I'm doing a return to Blizzard content for the month. So I'm going to be doing, of course, Hearthstone to kick things off. And then I'm going to be doing a bunch of StarCraft 1, StarCraft 2. I'm going to do my first ever playing of WoW. I might check out Warcraft Rumble, LeMayo, but I'll probably continue to do a lot of StarCraft stuff as well. So I'm pretty excited.